Hello, Sim here. Don't you just love playing Call of Duty World War II? Win a game with luck. And right at the end of the game, you get greeted with communication with Activision servers has been interrupted. Please press accept. Try doing something, haha, you can get greeted with a black screen. You need to quit the game, man. We've crashed. Sweet. So, as the thumbnail indicates, I've developed a workaround solution, not a fix. Sledgehammer Games needs to develop a fix to their application code. That's what a fix means. I've developed a workaround solution to stop this happening if you're experiencing it. Now, the problem is induced potentially by any router that provides bandwidth control. And that's bandwidth control you typically use to control your buffer bloat. The likelihood of the issue occurring is totally dependent on the bandwidth management algorithm that is being used. In a nutshell, the problem is the Sledgehammer Games network application protocol code is just not robust. I'm specifically talking about the application protocol because we're not talking about network protocol, which is TCP/IP, for example, and UDP. It's not that, although I suspect UDP is being used. What I'm referring to is specifically the protocol that Sledgehammer Games is using to transition between game server and lobby server. In good old days of Modern Warfare 2, we would typically refer to this as host migration, because a lot of you guys would understand what the heck I'm talking about. So when we come to World War II, when we finish a match, we transition from the game server, which could be a dedicated server with luck, or an unlucky console gamer or PC gamer who was the host for that game, but we'll call that the game server. We transition from the game server to a lobby server, but there is no true lobby server. It's somebody, whoever was in that match becomes the host for the lobby whilst we wait to play the next game. Map selection and countdown and people going in and out of the lobby. That game server to lobby server migration is where the problem lies. And the fix is that Sledgehammer Games has to modify their code. However, I've developed a workaround solution to this if you're experiencing it. And there's going to be a time code on screen now because I know a lot of gamers will go, oh, I just want to know how to fix it, man. And the workaround, go to that time code. I've put a little link down in the description to allow you to jump. But how does Sim determine this? He doesn't have access to source code of NetDoomer, for example. He doesn't have access to Sledgehammer Games source code or anything like that. No advanced hardware network sniffing tools or anything like that. No. This is a process of elimination and using a pragmatic approach to, find what the problem is. So a friend of mine experienced this about a month or so prior to Christmas, and it was absolutely driving him mad. I know it was driving him mad. He'd factory reset his router, he'd factory reset his console, so brand new fresh install of Xbox, everything. He did a fresh download of the game onto an external hard drive and the internal Xbox hard drive. Still had the problem. It still would kick him out every so often. He changed ISP to a better ISP that gave him a better lower ping, more suitable for gamers. And he still had the problem. And there's me just scratching my head going, what could it be? Now you recently moved ISP, maybe it's the ISP, because some of this stuff I might be recalling in the wrong order because I can't remember if he did the change of ISP before the resetting of routers and consoles. Anyway, either way, he still had the problem. Went, maybe we could change the DNS server because let's change it in case there's some DNS server query that's being performed by the game and the ISP DNS servers aren't responding in a timely enough fashion and the game gives up. Let's change it to the Google public DNS servers. Nope, that didn't fix it. So then he was a really good boy, and at Christmas he got himself a brand new Xbox One X. And it was like, the problem's gone, it's all good. And I was like, oh, okay, it was a hardware fault then. Then a day or so later, it's back. I can't get rid of this problem. And it's like, okay, so the only constants that remained, because pretty much he changed everything out. The only constants that he had was the router and the game. Because the modem had changed because his ISP had changed. So the router was the same, the game was the same. They were the only two constants. Sim had been gaming away fine during the beta, hadn't experienced it. He was gaming away fine during the main launch and all the way up to Christmas or so. Hadn't had the problem. And suddenly, bang, I got hit by the problem. Now, the very first time I got hit by the problem, I went, oh, jump onto the router and let's have a look. And ports 3076 and 3075 are both in use. The game's getting itself confused. It's trying to talk on port 3075 when it should only be talking on 3076 in the world of Call of Duty for an Xbox. PS4 talks on 3074. Anyway, so I thought, I'll clear the UNP table and that'll get itself all sorted. Nope, that didn't fix it. Then I thought, okay, it must be the geofilter then, because it blocks servers and stuff, and it talks about can't talk to Activision servers, so that must be the problem. We'll flush the cloud, that will probably sort it. Nope, that didn't sort it either. Now, I was trying to go through my head, like, what had I changed on my setup recently? Because I always do a little bit of tinkering, and I had reduced the ping assist value from 17 milliseconds to 13, because I wanted to avoid what I call the Swiss cheese server in Amsterdam, because its pings go from 15 milliseconds all the way up to 80 milliseconds. 80, yeah. Stupidly large. I thought, maybe that's it. So what I thought, okay, let's just put a whoppingly big, large geofilter around the majority of Europe from my perspective, and then slowly shrink it in from like Spain and then Italy and Germany and France and then Amsterdam and then the UK, and we'll do that and we'll see what happens. And I was getting the errors intermittently, but there was just no block servers. There was no little triangles with exclamation marks coming up on the geofilter from that doom. It's going, well, I don't get it. Surely it must be the geofilter that's blocking it. That's what I thought, but it's not. But the story continues. So I thought, okay then, I'm going to cover the entire world with the geofilter. Set the ping assist to a really high, ridiculous value, like 300 milliseconds or something. And I still got the error, so I went, okay, I've confirmed that I've got no padlocks or anything when I launch the game. I'll turn the geofilter off. Covers the entire world, and later on I got the error again. I went, well, the only constant now is that I'm using the preemptive algorithm right this second, because I got a bit lazy from how I had been using it for my streaming setup. So then the investigation started looking at congestion control, and this is where the rest of the gamers who skipped the other little story have joined. So I switched to reactive, set both global sliders to 100%, did a reset distribution, gamed with the geofilter off. So at this point in time, the geofilter was permanently off because I wanted to keep all the constants, and I'd pretty much been playing TDM as well to ensure that we were keeping as many constants as possible, reducing the amount of variables and killing my KD. So anyways, I reduced the congestion control sliders, the global ones for reactive, all the way down. No problems whatsoever from a disconnect perspective. That's all I was worried about. Do I get a disconnect? No. Okay, so let me slide the sliders back up to 100%, use device prioritization like I've been talking about in my NetDoomer Ultimate Guide, and no problems. I was sliding those around. No disconnects. Okay, reset. Let's go back to preemptive. 100%. No problems. 80%, which was what I've been using at the beginning of the World War II. No problems. Then eventually I had problems, intermittent problems. So when you run the buffer bloat test and stuff, you get your buffer bloat rating and you'll get a quality rating. In the case of preemptive, as soon as you hit the quality rating that is D or less, you will start hitting the problem, in my experience. So D tended to be a bit more intermittent. As soon as you get it down to an F, it would occur much more frequently. Now, when using like device prioritization with the preemptive algorithm, I tried this too. I think I had one occurrence once, but I generally couldn't trigger it just at will. As soon as I set the global sliders at 5% and 10% on the preemptive algorithm, I would hit the issue much more frequently. But as soon as I got on both at 10%, I wouldn't hit the issue at all. Now, I was deliberately, sliding these sliders down to trying to induce it, and that's the problem. So what's happening with any congestion or bandwidth control algorithms, the purpose is to reduce your latency i.e. keep your pings under control without buffering and without dropping packets. So all I can think of is that either packets of data that are going from your network to the Sledgehammer game network, we'll call it that for a second, are either getting dropped in some manner or arriving too slow that it times out and says, oh, I was expecting a response by now, so I'm going to disconnect you. But either way, the workaround solution for NetDoomer is simply keep your buffer bloat value for quality rating at B and above. As soon as it gets to D and lower, you're going to have a problem. So preemptive high percentages, as long as it says A or A+, you're not going to hit it. Reactive, you can use it to your heart content. I couldn't get it to trigger whatsoever. So similarly, if you've got another router that gives you bandwidth control, watch the quality rating on the buffer bloat test that you do on dslreports.com, and that will stop you having the problem pretty much. So I hope you guys found that useful. There's a lot of testing going on to try and narrow down and absolutely 100% confirm that it's related to buffer bloat control algorithms. For the NetDoomer, preemptive tends to cause the problem to occur much more often, especially when you seriously have your quality ratings impacted. So if you found the video useful, please give it a thumbs up. As always, if you want to see more of Sim's videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, this has been Sim.